Boston Zoning Board of Appeal hearing for October 8, 2024 is now in session. This hearing is being conducted in accordance with the applicable provisions of the open meeting law.
Recording in progress.
Including the updated provisions enacted by the legislature last year. This new law allows the board to continue its practice of holding virtual hearings until March 2025. This hearing of the board is being held remotely via the Zoom webinar event platform. This hearing is also being live streamed. In order to ensure this hearing of the board is open to the public, members of the public may access this hearing through telephone and video conferencing. The information for connecting to this hearing is listed on today's hearing agenda, which is posted on the public notices page of the city's website, boston.gov. Members of the public will enter the virtual hearing as attendees, which means you will not see yourself on the screen and you will be muted throughout unless administratively unmuted when asked to comment. Board members, applicants, and their attorneys or representatives will participate in the hearing as panelists, and they will appear alongside the presentation materials when speaking. Panelists are strongly encouraged to keep video on while presenting to the board. As with our in-person meetings, comments and support will be followed by comments and opposition. The order of comments is as follows: elected officials, representatives of elected officials, and members of the public. The chair may limit the number of people called upon to offer comment and the time for commenting as time constraints require. For that reason, the board prefers to hear from members of the public who are most impacted by a project, that is, those individuals who live closest to the project. If you wish to comment on an appeal, please click the raise hand button along the bottom of your screen in the Zoom webinar platform. Click it again and your hand should go down. When the host sees your hand, you will receive a request to unmute yourself. Select yes and you should be able to talk. If you are connected to the hearing by telephone, please press *9 to raise and lower your hand. You must press *6 to unmute yourself after you receive the request from the host. Those called upon to comment will be asked to state their name and address first and then provide their comment. In the interest of time and to ensure that you have enough time to do so, please raise your hand as soon as Mr. Stembridge reads the address into the record. Do not raise your hand before the relevant address is called, or the meeting host will not know to call on you at the appropriate time. Mr. Stembridge.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning. Mr. Valencia.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning. Mr. Langham.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning. Ms. Wewell.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning. Mr. Aiken.
Morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning. And just a note, we are a 6-member board. The floor is yours, Mr. Stembridge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We'll begin with the approval of the hearing minutes. These hearing minutes are from September 19th and September 24th of this year. I'll make a motion that for the minute, for approval of the minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Stembridge.
Yes.
Mr. Valencia.
Yes.
Mr. Langham.
Yes.
Ms. Wewell.
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion carries.
Next, we'll move on to extensions. The extension is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. I'll read all of the extensions in as they are similar, looking for a 1-year extension and are deemed reasonable. And then we'll take have motion taken at the end and vote on them all together. First, we have case BOA 133-9798 with the address of 67 Appleton Street. Next, we have case BOA 985-935 with the address of 705 VFW Parkway. Then we have case BOA 122-8408 with the address of 69 Reedville Street. Case BOA 122-8404 with the address of 71 Reedville Street. Case BOA 134-1538 with the address of 2196 Washington Street. Case BOA 134-1528, address of 2154 Washington Street. Case BOA 1341524, the address of 1121 Harrison Avenue. Case BOA 1341518, address of 1105 Harrison Avenue. Case BOA 945917, with the address 1203 to 1211 Dorchester Avenue. Case BOA 945890, address of 224 to 250 Hancock Street. Case BOA 1035609, address of 820 William T. Morrissey Boulevard. And finally, case BOA 1307730, with the address of 306 Sumner Street.
Any questions from the board? May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I do have one question.
Yes.
For 1203 to 1211 Dorchester and 224 250 Hancock. I'm not sure if the proponent is here. I'm not clear from the letter. It's requesting a 2-year extension, but through February, looks like, of 2025. So I'm just not clear, is it part of this backdating, or is it a request to go through 2027? I don't know if our counsel or the proponent is here.
Attorney Lee is available.
Okay. Is she a panelist? Can she answer the question?
I can make her one.
I just made a request to make our panelist.
Rebecca, you should be able to speak.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The February 2025 reference in our extension request is a reference to the existing building permit, which expires in February 2025. The request for an extension is for 2 years because the project is subject to state financing for the Hancock building, and that is a process that's going to wend its way well into 2025. And gearing up again to build the project means that it could be more than a year from now before the project starts construction. So this was a 2-year extension request.
Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? May I have a motion? I have a motion to approve the extensions as requested.
Motion to approve the extensions as requested.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge,
Yes.
Mr. Valencia,
Yes.
Mr. Langham,
Yes.
Ms. Wewell,
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Next, we'll move on to the hearing scheduled for 9:30 a.m. At this time, we'll ask if there are any requests for withdrawals or deferrals from this time frame. Hearing none. First case is BOA 1603116 with the address of 319 to 327 Chelsea Street. If the applicant and/or their representative are present, would they please explain the case to the board?
Yes, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. For the applicant, this is Michael Gimo, Robinson & Co. LLP, with business address of 1 Boston Place, Boston, 02108. I have with me my colleague, Madeline Lafitte, and some others who are available to provide answer technical questions if there are any. This application concerns a building-mounted wireless facility at 319 to 327 Chelsea Street. Verizon's proposing this in order to provide better coverage and additional capacity to meet increased demands on Verizon Wireless Network in this part of East Boston and avoid a substantial gap in service. The building is a multifamily residential condominium. It's shown in the center of that picture that's up on the presentation screen. It's on a lot that fronts on both Bremen and Chelsea streets. The building is 5 stories high on the section facing Bremen Street, 3 stories high on the section facing Chelsea Street, and it's in the East Boston Neighborhood District, and for purposes of this application, it's in the 3F 2000 district. The purpose, and if you could go to presentation page 4, if you have that. Yes, perfect, thank you. This map shows the current breakdown of which areas are served by which of the existing Verizon wireless facilities in and surrounding East Boston, and the area colored red on this map is the area that's currently served by a Verizon wireless facility on the roof of a building at 183 Orleans Street, the corner of Orleans and Porter Streets. That existing facility currently faces high and growing demand, and some of that demand needs to be offloaded for the system to function properly. If you could go to the next page, the map on the next page, thank you. So this page shows the proposed after condition. The area colored green on this map is the area that would be primarily served by the proposed new facility at 319, 327 Chelsea Street. And as the RF engineer Keith Valenti's affidavit filed as part of this application says, the proposed facility will improve coverage and provide additional capacity in the green area. It's also going to improve service within the red area on the plan that's served by the existing site because it will offload some of the demand that that facility would otherwise have had to handle. If you could go to page 7 of the presentation, please. As shown on the plans, and this is the roof plan, the applicant proposes to install 4 antenna sectors, each with 5 antennas mounted on the facade of the 5-story part of the building, 1 on each side of that part of the building. The antennas will be colored to match the building walls behind them, as shown on the photo simulation study that was submitted with the application. And what we're looking at here is a roof plan, just to give you an orientation of where the components of this facility are going to be. The taller part of the building facing Bremen Street is at the bottom of this plan. The 4 antenna sectors are shaded yellow on this plan. You can see there's 1 on each side of the building. The one in the lower left-hand corner is a little hard to see. That's a sector where the antennas are going to be installed one above the other, but still facade mounted, still below the roof line. On the roof behind each antenna sector is a 4-foot 10-inch tall ballast frame, which will hold remote radio heads and over-voltage protection equipment that needs to be near the antennas. And these are shaded light green on the plans. It's the 4 rectangular areas behind each of the antenna sectors. On the roof of the lower 3-story section of the building, set well back from Chelsea Street and the other edges of that roof, will be a 35-square-foot equipment area with 1 equipment cabinet and 1 battery cabinet. And this area is shaded light blue on this plan. And then the lines connecting those are power and fiber optic cables that will run across the roof to connect the various parts of the equipment. This project requires the following relief that we're seeking: conditional use for building-mounted wireless communication antennas in a residential district, conditional use to waive the requirement of a 50-foot setback of the facade-mounted antennas from a building in residential use, to allow the antennas as shown on the plans. And the violation letter also cited the requirement that roof-mounted antennas be set back 10 feet or 10% of the roof depth. There are no roof-mounted antennas as that term is defined in Article 86, but if that setback requirement is applied to the power and radio equipment on those ballast mounts, then we also require that relief and request that relief to allow the equipment to be as shown on the plans. Design review will also be required for this project. Building-mounted wireless facilities, for the reasons stated in our memorandum filed on May 16th, it satisfies the standards for conditional use approval. In short, it is an appropriate location for the use. Buildings taller than the nearby buildings, which allows the antennas to transmit and receive signals to the area that needs improved service without obstruction from other structures. It's designed to minimize visual impact. It will comply with all applicable regulatory requirements for radio frequency. It will not create noise, interfere with electrical devices, or have other negative effects. And the improved service will be a benefit for residences, businesses, and visitors to the neighborhood and to the city as a whole. Article 86 also includes additional findings for granting relief from the dimensional requirements, and as also addressed in our May 16th memorandum, the proposed facility satisfies those findings. The applicants designed that facility to comply with the greatest extent possible with the dimensional requirements, given the location and configuration of the building. The proposal will be subject to design review, and it will not have any greater impacts than it would if it complied fully with the dimensional requirements. And at this point, I'm happy to conclude the formal presentation and answer any questions the board may have.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I have one question, sorry. So I noticed that the facade-mounted antennas do have screening from the elevations. Do the roof-mounted ones have screening proposed, or is that something to be settled in design review?
They don't have that proposed now. That would be something we could address in design review, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair, I would just sort of second what Member Wewell said. I know the area well. I can understand why the building is suitable for this, but given the location near a park, screening definitely needs to be part of it. And I know the BPD recommended that, so we can certainly come back to that in the motion. Thank you.
With that, may I have public testimony?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Eva Jones, representing the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Regarding 319 Chelsea Street, our office will defer to the board's judgment on this matter. A community process was conducted, including an abutters meeting on July 11th, 24, which was attended by 3 constituents. Primary feedback from this meeting was constituents only had light concerns about interference with their Wi-Fi or other connectivity devices that was assuaged by the attorney. Additionally, I did receive a letter of opposition from a concerned resident citing visual and aesthetic clutter, health concerns, and the oversaturation of cell towers in the area. The proposal was reviewed with the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association, which convened on August 21st, 2024. The association has expressed opposition regarding the proposal and provided a letter of opposition. At this time, the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services would like to defer to the board's decision. Thank you for your time and consideration. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, any other elected official office? If not, I'll go to Debbie. You were going to give testimony here, Debbie?
Hi, good morning. My name is Debbie Rasso. I am a resident and I'm also part of the Maverick Central Neighborhood Association Board. When they came to us, there was multiple questions that were left unanswered. I believe this is cell site number 5 for Verizon in East Boston. And when I asked why we would need so many, they just said that because if one went down, they would need another. And my opposition was, well, if this one goes down, then we go into, say, number 6. Number 6 goes down, then we go into number 7, so on and so on and so on. We wanted to know why we needed so many in East Boston. I mean, we're a small little town, small little part of East Boston itself. So we definitely oppose this. When I asked about the abutters meeting, I was told that there were quite a few people. Now, the mayor's liaison there just said that there was only 3 people. So I don't know what was truth and what was false when they came in front of us. But
All right.
Any other raised hands?
I have no additional raised hands.
Okay. Other questions from the board? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve with the recommendations from the planning department that specific attention should be made to minimizing the visibility of rooftop equipment with screening and increase setback from the roof's edge as much as possible, and that the facade mounted antennas are designed in such a way that they match the color and material of the facade.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1649869 with the address of 1020 to 1022 Bennington Street. If the applicant and or their representative are present, will they please explain the case to the board?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Stenbridge. Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. For the record, Richard Lins with a business address of 245 Sumner Street in East Boston on behalf of the petitioner, JB Capital. We could probably jump down to slide 4, maybe give us some context for the area. So, Madam Chair, this is a pre-existing mixed-use building located in the Orient Heights section of East Boston, directly across from Orient Heights T Station. The building currently is occupied as a ground-level retail nail salon with residential units above. There's a total of 4 existing residential units. The proposal would change the legal occupancy from the ground-level retail and 4 residential to ground-level retail and 5 residential by proposing a renovation on the lowest level to add 1 additional unit. We could jump to the next slide, please. Just a bird's eye view of the building. We're not making any modifications to the exterior, the footprint of this building, so the pre-existing conditions will remain. And I'll run through the zoning in a moment, but if we could jump down perhaps to the next couple of slides. That's a couple of different views. Next slide, please. Building is off to the left in that slide. This is the Orient Heights Square section. Next slide. Looking back towards Orient Heights Station. Next slide. And probably can jump down to slide 11. Start comparison of the floor plans. As you can see, the upper levels, there is no work being proposed in any of the upper levels. All the work will be located in the lower level. That lower level does have a full walkout condition as the grade from Bennington Street to the back of the building does decrease. We do maintain, as you can see, and I do have a better illustration of this, on the right side of that lower level, we do maintain all of the utilities as well as the appropriate egress. If we can jump down to slide 13, that's probably a better view of the lower level plan. So you can see here that we do incorporate the 2 bedrooms that do have appropriate windows that are in compliance with the state building code. And then this living area, bathroom facilities towards the front of the building. This lower level will be mechanically ventilated, and there will be the ability for borrowed light to access the living area as well. Again, all in accordance with the building code requirements. You can see on the right-hand side that we do maintain the separate utility area as well as the additional means of egress. Next slide, please. We'll probably jump down to slide 16, I believe. So you can see here that the building, again, the existing conditions remain for most of the building. The rear portion, as we can see on the lower left side, does have the addition of those windows, as well as the access point for egress in the building. Next slide, please. Just our section plan, again, showing that walkout condition, as well as the clear ceiling height is required under the building code. Madam Chair, this was filed under the prior version of Article 53, and therefore the refusal that was cited in the public notice that was provided cites a number of items under the prior zoning, specifically forbidden use, insufficient lot area, additional lot area being insufficient, the floor area ratio, and the usable open space. As I've mentioned in prior hearings, and I believe we'll start seeing fewer and fewer of these coming before the board, but within the new designated EBR4 district, all of those items are no longer zoning violations. Specifically, there is no longer a floor to area ratio requirement, so any additional floor space that is proposed would not be in violation with code. In addition, there is no usable open space requirement that has been cited as well, and there is no minimum lot area or additional lot area for proposed dwelling units. We were also cited for off-street parking being insufficient. As the code requires, any additional dwelling units that are provided to a pre-existing non-conforming building, you're only required to provide parking for the additional unit that's being proposed. In this case, that would be one parking space in order to achieve compliance. I'm sure as the board is well aware, the city's policy, even if it were possible to add off-street parking to this site, would favor against that because it does create a curb cut to create one private parking space. So I think based upon the proximity to public transit, as well as the minimal amount of relief that would be needed for the one additional parking space, we would request the variance for the one parking space. At this time, I will pause and ask if there are any questions from the board that I can address.
Thank you. So can you address the forbidden use, the basement use, and the
Yeah, so I believe the forbidden use being cited was again under the prior code. I believe that the concern obviously is sea level rise as well as proximity to the flood zone. This is not, I do believe we have the upper slide, I think slide 3 shows the actual location of the flood zone. And I do believe this was cited originally as both GCOD and coastal flood. But as you can see, the proximity of the flood zone is actually the MBTA right-of-way. And I think based upon the fact that it is located in close proximity, it is, has raised some concern over that. However, we would point out that 1022 Bennington Street's elevation is much higher than the elevation of where the track bed lies, where the flood zone is located. So I think we can address all those concerns as well as having that full walkout condition to the rear of the property.
Okay. Other questions from the board?
Yes, Madam Chair. Attorney Lins, can you be clear, is this a fourth unit adding a fifth? Is that in an EBR4 zone or?
Yes, so through the chair, Mr. Aiken, this is pre-existing retail with 4 units. We're proposing to add a 5th unit. Multifamily use is allowed in the EBR4, so that would not be a forbidden use.
And what is the purpose of adding the 5th unit in that basement level in an EBR4 zone?
Other than just adding an additional dwelling unit, that's essentially the proposal.
Okay, so there's nothing otherwise unique about the property that requires adding another unit to it?
If that's the question on whether the variance standard is met, the additional 5th unit is an allowed use, so I don't believe there's a requirement to demonstrate the variance standard on that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My name is Eva Jones, representing the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. Regarding 1020 to 1022 Bennington Street, our office will defer to the board's judgment on this matter. A community process was conducted, including a butters meeting on July 17th, 2024, which was not attended by any constituents. Additionally, the proposal was reviewed with Orient Heights Neighborhood Association, which convened on September 16th, 2024. The association has expressed support regarding the proposal, and ultimately OHNA has voted 12 in favor, 4 opposed, and 1 abstaining. At this time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer to the board's judgment. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you.
And then we do have a raised hand here. Okay, Elaine?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Elaine Donovan with Councilor Coletta's Zapata's office. The council would like to go on record in support at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. And I have no additional raised hands. Thanks.
With that, may I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve based upon the fact that it's adding another unit within the existing EBR4 zone, which is allowed, and that the apparent elevation of the building seems all right, even though it's within the seafront district.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Stenbridge.
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia.
Yes.
Mr. Langham.
Yes, ma'am.
Zullo.
Yes.
Mr. Aiken.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Next, we have case BOA 1639678 with the address of 30 Fenway. If the applicant and/or their representatives are present, would they please explain to the board?
Yes. Hello?
We can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Tom Backlars. I am the owner of Unit 1, which is the unit that's under consideration here, and the architect of the project. 30 Fenway is a 5-unit mixed-use condominium building, and the building permit application includes work to the common area of the building and units 1, 2, and unit 5. The zoning code violations are only due to the work proposed for unit 1, which is to split it into 2 units. My primary reason for doing this is to gain, the elevator currently opens directly into unit 1, and I would like the elevator to open into the common hallway to increase the accessibility of that floor. Could we have page 5? Yes, that's the page. You can see the proposal here, or perhaps there's some supplemental materials where there's a floor plan that's labeled 4-30 Fenway, Unit 1 existing proposed drawing. I don't know if you have that. Yeah, it would be that drawing that you just passed, I think. Yes, right there. You can see the existing conditions down at the bottom where the elevator opens directly into the unit, and the proposal above where the elevator opens into a hallway that then works its way to the common hall. This provides accessibility to the basement floor, the rear door, the garbage areas, the service areas of the building, and most importantly, to the garage unit that's in the back. The garage unit is currently part of Unit 1, but I'm going to transfer the ownership of that to Unit 5, which is the top floor, which is another part of the project. That's an office currently, and we're going to be converting that to residential, and I'm going to be living in that unit. So, and using the garage, so the accessibility of that is very important. When you add that common hallway in there, it does a good job of destroying the 2 middle rooms there and turning them just into hallways with, you know, deep closets on either side or something. And it seemed to produce much better floor plans to divide the unit in 2. When the building was made a condominium in 1985, this was originally 2 office units. So it has 2 electric meters, 2 of every service. And as you can see, the black walls that are shown in that upper plan, very little has to be built to have this become 2 units again. It also has 2 air conditioning systems in it. So like, makes it very easy to split. So that's pretty much the project.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board? Hearing none,
Yes,
can I have public?
question.
Sorry?
On the new layout, I only see 1 bathroom. If there are 2 units, I only see 1 bathroom at this moment. I'm not sure if I'm missing something.
No, there's an existing bathroom that's right to the left of where it says Unit B, 1B. That's the existing bathroom, and that's staying, and then right now opposite the elevator is a new bathroom. So in addition to those walls, to make this 2 units, you have to add 1 bath and 1 kitchen. The
Okay,
kitchen is right below where it's labeled 1. The new kitchen is right where it's labeled below 1B, and then the new bathroom is right below the elevator.
okay, yeah, see it, thank you.
May I have public testimony?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Siggy Johnson with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This proponent has completed the community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting on September 4th, during which no concerns were raised. The Fenway Civic Association has submitted a letter of support for this proposal. That's the active civic association in this area. With that background, we defer to the judgment of the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Jonathan? I sent a request to unmute you.
Yes, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, good morning. My name is Jonathan Knox. I'm the abutter immediately above Unit 1 at 30 Fenway, Unit 2, and I just wanted recorded my support of this application.
Thank you.
And we have no additional raised hands at the moment.
Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion of approval with 2 provisos. The first one is that the plans should be submitted to the planning department for review. The second is that there is no building code allowed for the basement units.
No building code relief. Okay.
No building
may I have a-
code relief, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Valencia, would you consider just having Boston Planning review and then the building department within ISD will do a separate review?
Okay, that is okay. So only 1 proviso for the planning department review.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yeah.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, is
Yeah.
that Jeff Hampton, whose hand was raised?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Jeff Hampton, City of Boston Planning Department. We asked for design review just to make sure that there was no building code issues, but since this is all internal, I don't want it, so it could be straight approval from our point of view. We were concerned about building code issues, but if council thinks that that ISD will review this, I don't want it for design review.
Are you making us revote, or will you just punt it when it gets to you?
Well, no, because ISD is going to make us stamp the plans because there's a motion, so I would ask for a revote, please.
Mr. Valencia, would you like to
Okay.
re-motion?
Make a motion of approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All right, Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion carries. Mr. Hampton needs to raise your hand faster next time. All right.
You know, we got the mice in City Hall. The internet's slow over here.
Okay, Mr. Stenbridge.
Next, we have case VOA 1649572 with the address of 471 West Broadway. If the applicant and or their representative are present, would they please explain to the court?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Charlie Tevnin. I'm an attorney with the business address of 15 Broad Street, Boston. I'm here on behalf of the applicants Dana Nenton and Hung Lam, both of whom are logged on to this hearing. The proposal is to convert the former T-Mobile retail cellular store to a small casual restaurant, Playa Bowls, with takeout. 471 West Broadway is located in a multifamily residential local service district. A restaurant with takeout at this location is a conditional use. Playa Bowls is a quick service restaurant which serves healthy, fresh acai, superfruit bowls, smoothies, juices, and coffee. This is a mature franchise with locations in 22 states and which entered Massachusetts in 2019. There are now 10 Boston area locations, all of which are owned and operated by the applicants who are former Boston College classmates. This will be the team's third location in Boston. Their first location is located on Comm Ave in Brighton near Boston College. Their second location on Huntington Avenue near Northeastern. An abutters meeting was held on August 12th via Zoom. No one appeared in opposition. The applicants reached out to Councilor Flynn, and we believe his office is in support of this application. We respectfully ask the board to grant this conditional use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Siggy Johnson with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This proponent has completed the ONS community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting on August 12th at which no concerns were raised. The St. Vincent's Lower End Neighborhood Association chose not to take a position on this proposal. With that background, we defer to the judgment of the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chairs and members of the board. Laura here from Councilor Flynn's office. At this time, the councilor would like to go on record in support of this proposal. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, I have no raised hands at the moment. Thanks.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion?
May
I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Steinbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, and thank you, Madam Ambassador.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1565204 with the address of 534 Massachusetts Avenue. If the applicant and or their representative are present, would they please explain the case to the board?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. My name is Ivan Hernandez. The proposed project is for a 24-foot 10-inch by 7-foot deep rear deck at 534 Mass Ave. There are very similar decks in the neighborhood, and basically that plan there that's on the screen right now, there's an existing, if you look at the lower left side rear elevation of the house, there's an existing wood structure on the, I believe that's the second level of the building. And right up above that structure, we're proposing a deck, as I said, 24-10 by 7-foot deep. It would be constructed mainly of steel wrought iron railings to match the surrounding balconies, and steel columns coming down to load-bearing points below. If you go over to the next page, or the next sheet, it would show the proposed deck and that decking. Actually, there it goes. On the upper right side, you'll see the proposed floor plan of the deck. The access to the proposed deck, better yet, would be replacing an existing window with a door. That door would actually open into a bedroom. We would also connect the existing fire escape to the new deck to maintain, obviously, emergency egress. Materials used would all be fire rated on either side of the deck to conform with building code requirements. If you go to the next page, you'll see proposed materials on the back of for the deck itself. That's an elevation of the proposed deck in the middle, and then side elevations on either side. As you see, there's the existing wood frame deck on the lower level, and we would construct a new deck above. It would not extend as far as the existing deck. It would just extend out 7 feet from the house. Materials on the floor, the decking would be a tongue and groove material in order to avoid debris or anything from up above coming down to the lower deck. We want to try to keep the lower neighbor as happy as possible by minimizing anything falling down to the lower deck area. The proposed door would be a 4-panel door, kind of tie in and complement the architectural details of the existing windows. It would be a wood door. The middle lower area there shows the proposed decking, and then over to the right, the windows. There would be actually a couple of windows that would be replaced that would be Marvin window units, but that's just I guess more for the other board there to review landmarks. There we go. That's pretty much the scope of the project. We had a neighborhood meeting, and there was support for the project.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony? Jessica, is there any raised hands?
I don't see any raised hands. Owen, are you on?
Okay. Hearing none, may I have a motion?
Ma'am, shall I make a motion of approval with a proviso that plans should be submitted to the Sound and Landmarks Commission?
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langland?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am.
Next, we have case BOA 1622321 with the address of 751 to 757 Dudley Street. This is an Article 80 case. If the applicant and or their representative present, would they please explain the case to the board?
Yes, good morning, hold on, Doug. Good morning, Mr. Secretary, Attorney Joseph Feaster with my associate Patricia Flanagan from the law firm of Dane Torpy, 175 State Street in Boston. I want to wish the board members and the panelists and attendees a happy fall. Joining me as well on here are the applicants or the developers, Mark and Stuart Salzberg, our consultant, Ms. Fishman from MLF Consulting LLC. The person who's going to make the presentation is Douglas Stefano, who is from Stefano Architects. As this project is, this is a project, as was mentioned by the Secretary, that went through Article 80 with an extensive community process. Many letters of support have been filed both with the now Mayor's Office of Planning, but then BPDA, previously BRA, and to erect a 6-story mixed-use building on the newly created 9,908 square foot lot. It will include 48 residential units, 1 general retail space, parking garage, roof deck, and amenity spaces with bike rooms. I will ask at this time for Mr. Stefanoff to take the board through the project. Doug?
Yes. Madam Chair, members of the board, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you, Joe, for the introduction. I'd like to present to you a proposed mixed-use development on the corner of Dudley and Virginia Streets in the Upham Corners neighborhood district on Dudley Street. This building, the Salzberg family have owned the property for several decades. It's currently a single-story retail building. As you can see, yes, in the site plan, you can proceed. And we propose commercial and parking on the first floor, and then on floors 2 through 6, apartments. This would be a rental building with a roof deck for common amenity. The mix of the units are a variety of studio, 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units, which we thought would be a good mix for the neighborhood. We have ample or both bus and train transit options available. The Upham's Corner MBTA stop being but a very short walk, and bus lines running down Dudley Street. As Mr. Feaster mentioned, we have met with 6 of the community groups with favorable reports. We've been through BPDA/planning review and suggestions and updates on the exterior. You can proceed through the drawings, please, the next ones who go to the floor plan. Yeah, that's just the, next please, if you would. We have proposed street trees, both on Virginia and Dudley Street. There's a bus stop right in front of the building, so we're a little limited there, but preserve. We retracted the building from the property line to provide ample space on the sidewalk that actually is greater than the Complete Streets program, as you can see in the gray area there at the bottom. 3,500 square feet of commercial space, 52 bikes and a bike room immediately off the Dudley Street. Parking is accessed, yeah, that's our typical floor. Central elevators and corridor with units wrapping around the perimeter. We're able to get balconies on the back and on Virginia Street to provide some outdoor space. We have a brick, if you stop there for a second, a combination of brick and terracotta first floor, picking up the brick materials that are commonly found on Dudley Street. Now this is with our BPDA planning review, and then a mixture of terracotta and metal panel exterior. There are several buildings of this scale on the street. The street is mixed with lower retail and then some larger residential units comparable to our proposed building. As you have in front of you, we are seeking relief from a number of zoning items, being parking. Obviously the use is conditional. Off-street loading would be per the tenant, which is not specified or known at this time. Floor area ratio, height, and rear yard. And I open the table up to any questions you may have.
Okay. Before we go to questions, Madam Chair, just to add one thing. There was much discussion in the community about the bike room. Obviously, we as my client as a developer complied with what the Mayor's Office of Housing was requiring, but I wanted to note that for the board as at this time. So with that, we'll take any questions from the board.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Yes, I have a question for Mr. Stefanov. Your project is providing 6 IDP units. Is that correct?
I think we have more than that. Let me just see.
I think that is what I saw on the...
Yeah, yes, that's correct. You are correct.
So 6. And the question is, maybe Jeff Hampton can help us with this as well. The IDP requires 30% of the units to be affordable. In this case, it should be no less than 6.24 units. So sometimes it's 7 or more. So what is the reason that your project is providing less than the 30% required by the IDP?
Well, normally, if the number is 6.5 or less, the rest of the allocation is turned into a contribution to the fund. So if it was 6.6, yes, that would be rounded up to 7. But as we're below 0.5, just to speak about community benefits as well, which I think didn't get mentioned, we are proposing a contribution to improve the Blue Bike program on Ramsey Street. So there's a half-seasonal Blue Bike installation that gets dismantled in the winter for snow removal. and the Salzburgs have offered to provide for an enlarged curb to allow for a year-round presence for that. So that, in addition to the monies that would be paid to complement the 6 units that comprises our affordable housing offer.
Thank you. Yes, I appreciate that. Usually we see projects providing a lot more than the 13%, 14, 15, 20%, depending on how they negotiate with the housing, Office of Housing, but I appreciate your explanation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Other questions from the board?
Yes, I have one small question concerning the roof decks. I'd like to know how many roof decks is in that area?
There's a new development, kind of kitty corner across the street. I believe they have a small roof deck. There aren't any others in the area, and we've retracted this from the edge, so it's almost 15 to 20 feet back from the edge of the building. This roof deck will be invisible, practically, from the street, and it's for residents only. It's not a public, roof deck. So the views and the south is to the back of the building. We think this would be actually very nice for the tenants and not a nuisance to the neighbors.
And Mr. Langham, if I might add, this is Attorney Feaster. There was definitely genuine support within the community, both from the abutters. There's a church that's adjacent to this property. There are many abutters along Virginia Street. And as Mr. Stefanoff said, there is one new structure that was built recently within the past year or so that has a roof deck. And we have set this back just to be sensitive to, I'm sure, the concerns which you might have.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
May I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time the Mayor's Office will defer to the judgment of this board. This went through a BPDA-led community process involving a public meeting early in January of 2024. There was a mix of comments received from the community. Some were supportive, really liking that there was going to be retail space on the ground floor that would keep the part of the neighborhood active. There was some concerns raised by abutters regarding the proposed density of the project, the design. Some felt that there was not enough architectural features on it, as well as concerns regarding the roof deck. They were in contact, I understand, with the Upton's West Side, who, although having some concerns, ultimately did not take a stance on this proposal. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board. Liam Remus from Councilor Fitzgerald's office. Our office would like to go on record in support of this proposal. Thank you.
Any other elected official offices? Nope. Okay, then I'll go to Joanne.
Hi. Yep. Okay. I've never done this before online, only in person, so I'm a little confused. But
Please state your name and address and briefly tell us if you're in support or opposition.
Thank you. My name is Joanne Tuller. I live at 6 Monadnock Street, which is basically a block from the proposed project. I'm in support of the project, although as one of the board members raised, I would like to see a higher proportion of the apartments be affordable. You may know that Upham's Corner was featured in the Globe as being an example of development without displacement, and affordable housing is very important to us in the neighborhood in general. But other than that, the Salzburg brothers have, done their work to communicate with the neighborhood, which is important. And I think this building is, in scale with not so much the older parts of the neighborhood, but with what's been getting built around in recent years. So as I said, I support the project with the proviso that I would like to see more affordable units. Thank you.
Thanks. And, Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hands.
Thank you. With that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion of approval with review from the planning department.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Mr. Stembridge.
Yes.
Mr. Valencia.
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes, I think this is a good project. The project's been proposed, consistent with a number of other things that have happened in the community and all of the planning efforts that have been underway for a number of years there. So happy to support it, yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you all.
Next, we have case BOA 1625894 with the address of 530 to 542 Washington Street. The applicant and or their representative are present. Please explain the case to the board.
Hello everyone. I am Darren Wu, and I am in the process of taking over China Station Chinese restaurant at 532 Washington Street, Dorchester. Thank you for being here today. Before the ownership transfer is complete, I'm applying for the takeout service permit removal proviso. This is just a legal procedure, and no changes will be made to the restaurant. We will continue serving the same American-style Chinese food that the community loves. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Any questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time we'd like to defer to the judgment of this board. With no real operational changes, we're unaware of any concern. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Chair, I have no raised hands at the moment.
With that, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1644871 with the address of 108 Florence Street. If the applicant and or their representative are present, would they please explain to the board?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. My wife, Michelle, and I are owners of 108 Florence Street. Today, we're presenting our proposal to maintain the property as a 4-unit building while adding an additional floor to expand the top 2 units. So our plan is to keep the property as 4 units, with the first floor units remaining as 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments with an office, approximately 800 square feet each, which you can see on slide 2. Thank you. The top 2 units on slide 3, units 3 and 4, located on 2nd and 3rd floors, will be expanded to 3 bedrooms, 3-bathroom apartments, roughly 1,500 square feet, providing larger, family-friendly spaces. The completed exterior design is available for review here on slide 4. The property currently includes a driveway with 5 parking spaces, which is sufficient to serve all 4 units. As longtime residents of Rosendale, we understand the growing demand for larger family-sized apartments. In preparing for this proposal, we hosted both abutters and neighborhood meetings, and we received positive feedback, particularly about the increased unit size for families. Regarding the current property, as shown on slide 10, it consists of 4 one-bedroom units, which we believe do not meet the needs for the families trying to live in the area. This expansion will help meet the community's demand for larger living spaces by enhancing the upper 2 units. That currently concludes my presentation, and I just wanted to thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to address any concerns or questions you may have. And I have additional support with me, my architect, if there's any technical questions that you may have.
Thank you. Are there questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony?
Madam Chair and members of the board, for the record, my name is Jeremy Bembury. I am the Rosendale Community Engagement Specialist for the Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant has completed the community process, which consisted of an abutters meeting on August 5th, where abutters voiced concerns regarding whether the property would be owner-occupied or for rent. They also voiced concerns with affordability and the time frame of the construction. The project then presented to the Civil Healy 2 Cummins Neighborhood Association, who voted neutral on the project. Thank you for your time, and the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services would like to defer to the board for their judgment at this time.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have no raised hands.
With that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'll put forward a motion of approval.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 163-1620 with the address of 4228 to 4230 Washington Street. If the applicant and or their representative are present, would they please explain the case to the board?
ISD Legal, apologies for the interruption. The applicant went to City Hall unknowingly, and so Cable and myself are trying to set them up with technology to be able to present. They're the attorney for this case. We would ask that we would please punt this to the last case of the 9:30 section, just to give them appropriate time to get set up.
That sounds good. Thank you so much. So let's move on to 35 Glen Ellen.
Case BOA 163-2893 with the address of 35 Glen Ellen Road. If the applicant and or their representative present, would they please explain the case to the board?
Yes, good morning, Madam Chair and Mr. Member of the board. Thank you for having us today. My name is Florian Luca, and I'm the architect of the project. This is an existing single-family residence in West Roxbury, as you can see in this first slide. And if I can jump you a little bit around for slide number 6 to show you what we're intending to do. The current house is a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and we are one more down, please. Thank you. Yes. So we intend to. We're proposing an addition at the rear of the house, consisting of an office and a second bathroom, and the entrance vestibule within the existing covered porch. So, and if I can jump you to the last slide, please, just to give you an idea how the current house, the very last one. You don't, oh, there were some pictures there. The elevations are good. So basically, in the upper right corner, you see the rear elevation with the addition at the back, and right below it, it's the proposed front elevation with that added entrance vestibule. The zoning violations for which we've been cited are mostly dealing with dimensional requirements. If we can go to the first page, so we can take a look at the zoning table. The existing lot is just a little bit over 3,000 square feet in a zoning area where the minimum allowable lots is 6,000 square feet. But the first page, if you go one more up, please. So the zoning data table there, as you can see, the existing property is 3,168 square feet, while the allowable minimum lots is 6,000. So right there is we have the problems with the floor area ratio and the open space, because the house is a fairly small size, it's 1,300 square feet, but in basically half the allowable lot. So we do ask for relief for the FAR and the usable open space. While we have been cited for the setbacks, as you can see, the side setbacks are existing non-conforming, but we do not plan to change those. While the rear setback, since this is a small lot under the Article 5640, Section 5640, we can have a reduction of the rear yard setback down to 19.5 feet. So we were currently proposing 20 feet. So the only remaining setback, it's in the front, which we're existing non-conforming at 12 feet right now, and since we would propose to enclose a corner of that existing porch, that would bring down the setback to 6.5 feet. So these are the facts of the project. If I can answer any other questions, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Siggy Johnson with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This applicant has completed the community process. Our office had the applicant distribute an informational flyer to abutters which solicited no comments. They also presented to the West Roxbury Neighborhood Council who supported the application. With that background, we defer to the judgment of the board.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, we have no raised hands.
Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
The chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, we have case BOA 1628644 with the address of 154 Brook Farm Road. If the applicant and/or their representative are present, would they please explain the case?
Hi, Vernon's on. I just sent a request to unmute you, Vernon.
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you very much, members of the board. This is a proposal for a single-family home on an adjacent lot on Farm Road in West Roxbury. The owners, Lima and Belia Bebe, live in the adjacent building at 772 LaGrange in a home that they find oversized and propose to move to a new home with a habitable floor area of 1,867 square feet, with a lot area of 4,374 square feet. This results in a floor area ratio of 0.42, just 0.2 over the minimum or maximum floor area allowed of 0.4. And the proposed building is 2.5 stories, 3 bedrooms with an attached 2-car garage. The violations for usable open space, floor area ratio, and setbacks are based on the size of the lot, not on the size of the project. We believe that the proposal is in keeping with the neighborhood and will contribute to the streetscape where currently a vacant lot used only for off-street parking exists.
Are there questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have public testimony?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Siggy Johnson with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This applicant has completed the ONS community process. Our office hosted an abutters meeting on August 8th at which abutters spoke in opposition to the proposal on the basis of insufficient lot size and insufficient setbacks. They also presented to the West Roxbury Neighborhood Council, which voted to oppose the proposal on the same basis. With that background, we defer to the judgment of the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and Madam Chair, we have no raised hands on that.
Okay. Are there any other questions from the board? Hearing none, may I have a motion? Is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion of approval with proviso that plans should be submitted to the planning department for review and also to the departments of Parks and Recreation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Lewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken? Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you very much, Chairman and members of the board.
Next, we have case BOA 1628698 with the address of 179 Church Street. If the applicant and or their representative are present, would they please explain the case to the board?
Hi, everyone, can you raise your hand?
Hello. I am raising my hand.
Are you here for 179 Church Street?
Yes.
Okay, can you state your name and address for the record?
Hi, can you hear me okay? So this is Shuhei Ono. I'm the owner of the house. And we are requesting extending our driveway. So we have one car driveway now, and we would like to extend it to 2 cars.
Okay, what does that entail as far as the curb cut?
We are not requesting a curb cut. It's just expanding the driveway.
So the curb cut does not need to be widened?
No.
Okay. Are there questions from the board?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I have a few questions. I mean, it does look like they are widening it from about 11.7 feet to 16, but my concern is with the most left parking space. How will that maneuver out if both spaces are occupied? It doesn't even look like the width of the curb cut extends to that space.
So I asked Ben, the neighborhood council, I think, and I was told that curb cut is only allowed up to 14 feet, and 14 feet is not going to change anything that you are describing. So that is the situation now. It's really hard for me to get any answer to what I can do. So I just, in that case, we will figure it out, I think.
Okay, yeah, I think I question how this will work, but I'll just leave that for my colleagues. And
our neighborhood, there are quite a few housing in our neighborhood. They did the same thing.
But does that require one stall backing over the curb, or do you need to move that right vehicle in order to get the left out and and to get in if it is occupied? So to me, it just seems like this isn't right for this site, but that's how I see this. But I see Mr. Hampton has his hand raised as well.
Mr. Hampton?
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jeff Hampton, City of Boston Planning Department. We recommended denial on this. We're not in favor of front yard parking to begin with. I understand that it's already existing for the one space. We also have concerns about, I think there's a pretty mature tree where they want to put this parking spot that will have to come down. And the other thing, if they have to expand this curb cut, I think there's a sewer right next to the expansion. I don't know how that plays out with Public Works or BTD or anybody else, but for us, we're on the record recommending denial. It's just not something that we support. And we also know that there's street parking. So we recommend denial. Thank you.
Thank you. Can the applicant address the concerns around the mature tree and sewage, I guess?
The tree, by the way, has been torn down. There was a storm about a year ago, I believe, and there was a tree there, but then we need to cut it down because it was damaged after the storm.
Okay, so no tree.
No tree.
Other questions from the board?
I think it's a question, also a comment. I guess I also don't understand how this functions with the curb cut there and not driving over the curb. And so that's not working for me. And I agree that there's some dimension doesn't work here, especially with that curb cut and making it much larger. So I guess one question is there not street parking available?
So people use our street as it's not a quiet street. And like 2 weeks ago, maybe last month, there was a major accident that somebody just strike the car parked on the street, and it's a little bit, after the COVID, it is a little bit busy in the morning. People use it as, how do you call it?
Are they using it for commuter parking?
No, it's not for the parking, but on the cars just passing by, we have a West Roxbury Parkway, and but people don't use it anymore.
Mr. Aiken, there is on-street parking there.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. And I see other conditions, it looks like in the neighborhood where people do have, some side by side, but not necessarily when you have to go dig down and build a whole retaining wall and excavate for the parking. So I'm just not sure what the need really appears to be for this. That's all for me. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, can I have public testimony?
Madam Chair, members of the board, Siggy Johnson with the Office of Neighborhood Services. This applicant completed the ONS community process. They distributed an informational flyer to abutters which solicited no comments to our office. Proponents also presented to the West Roxbury Neighborhood Council, which voted to support this application. With that background, we defer to the judgment of the board. Thank you.
Neighborhood? Yep. You looking to give testimony under the name neighborhood? No, lower the hand. We have no additional raised hands.
Okay. With that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I'm going to put forward a motion of denial. I think for the reasons stated earlier, this site just doesn't lend itself to this configuration, and they're not showing adequate, access to the site via the curb cut. It's subpar and can't accommodate both vehicles.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yeah.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
The chair also votes yes, the motion carries.
Next, we have case BOA 1508455 with the address of 10 to 12 Lynn Road. If the applicant and or their representative, would they please explain the case to the board?
Hi, my name is, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. The property is located at 1012 Lynn Road in Brighton. And the proposal is to be built a 2-level deck in the back of the property. The existing deck is about 17 feet wide and 5 feet deep. So we're proposing to be built and increase the deck to 10 feet. That would allow the occupant to a bit more space to spend some time outdoors. So the deck would be made up of the compressed wood posts and composite material. So if you look at the drawing, from the deck, when it's built to the back of the property, you still get ample space, 21 feet. The concrete stair will remain the same. So the only thing we request is to expand the depth of the deck from 5 to 10 feet. It's a pretty simple project. And right now, 5 feet of depth, there's not enough space for the folks to move around. Yes, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Other questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony? Is there any public testimony? Any raised hands?
I guess, Madam Chair, I'll go ahead. I don't know where our staffer is. We had the applicant circulate flyers to abutters within 300 feet. We did not receive any feedback. I understand that they connected with the Brighton Alston Improvement Association. I don't believe there was any concerns regarding that either. With that, we'll defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other raised hands? With that, may I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries.
Thank you, everyone.
Good luck. How are we with the case that we had to 428 Washington?
4228 to 4230 Washington Street.
I'm here, I'm ready to present.
Ready to go?
Yes.
Is anyone present? What's the case
Yes.
BOA?
Yes, this is Adam Rogoff as the applicant.
Okay.
Okay, great, thanks.
Okay. Case BOA 163-1620. The address of 4228 to 4230 Washington Street. I believe the applicant is now present, so would you go ahead, please?
Yes, Madam Chair and members of the board, I realize I've presented to this board before. I'm an attorney by training, but I've crossed the line to being old school because I came downtown. Thank you for accommodating me with this change. I am also the owner of the substation, which is in Roslindale. If you're not familiar with it, it's a building that was a former MBTA substation. It was boarded up from 1971 to 2016 when it went through a big renovation. It has had a number of failed uses over the years since then because it was hard to find a sustainable business model that would support the very expensive historic building. So with my business partner, Laura Charles, we have developed a business which really essentially works to activate the building at all times. So we do three things. We run co-working during the day. We have a beer hall, which is a legacy use of some prior brewers that had set up pop-ups in there, and we run events, both public events and private events, and on the event side, we do a lot of community events, we do a lot of arts and cultural programming, we have performances, circus performances, open mic nights, we have spoken word, fitness, wellness, dance, comedy. We've even hosted the mayor's office hours when they were rained out in Adams Park. And in addition to that, we donate every quarter the space for any mission-driven, certain mission-driven organizations. So we have, in order to run this, been doing on the alcohol side with one-day alcohol licenses, and we've applied to the city. We've been approved for an all-alcohol license, and now with the state law, we are positioned to go before the state for an all-alcohol license. But on the entertainment side, we've been pulling one-day entertainment licenses, which is cumbersome and costly for us and to the city. So in order to make that change, to be able to get an annual entertainment license, we need to have the zoning change. So simply what we're asking for today is zoning relief to have a bar with live entertainment added. I will say that a second thing we would like is that over the years, the various uses have been added and applied to different parts of the building. So we are hoping at the same time we can clean up the uses. So, and the proposal that came from ISD is not how we envisioned it, but I would like if the board will allow the ability to work with the legal staff to have something that is a little shorter and clearer. But essentially what we're looking for today simply is a bar with live entertainment use, which was a conditional use. And then I should say that also what was provided from ISD also shows that we are looking to increase the size of the capacity of the building. That is not something that requires any zoning relief, but it is apparently on the proposal.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Hearing none, can I have public testimony?
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. This time the Mayor's Office to defer to the judgment of this board. Some background information on the community process. ONS hosted a butters meeting on August 19th. There were no concerns raised in that meeting. The applicant then went on to connect with the West Village Neighborhood Association, which also did not express any concerns to our understanding. We understand that this is a very popular establishment in the community. With that, we'll defer to the board at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I have no additional raised hand.
Okay, with that, may I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I think this is a good proposal. I know they have been doing a lot of work to activate the site and activate the area, and with that, I make a motion of approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Stenbridge?
Yes.
Mr. Valencia?
Yes.
Mr. Langham?
Yes.
Ms. Wewell?
Yes.
Mr. Aiken?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the motion carries. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I will see everyone at 11:30.